my channel. Today I'm going to be filming my Get Ready With Me, as this video I have been wanting to film for quite a while now. So on my Instagram I put over a poll of questions and some of you guys wanted to know some things. I'm going to be answering those questions in this video. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and comment down below any video suggestions for the future, and I hope you guys enjoy the video, so let's just get started. First thing I'm going to be using is the Revolution Jake and Jamie spray. This was featured in my last video and I have been using it when I have been putting on my makeup. I'm just going to give it a quick squirt across my face. That wasn't my face, that was my neck.
I'm quite scared, oh my god. Oh my god, just do it! Oh my god! Why am I so scared?
There we go, I did it, it's cool. Primer today, I'm just going to put some of the Too Faced Hangover Primer on. This primer I do tend to use for more of a look if I'm going to be going out for a long time, because this does last, but to be honest I haven't used this one in a while, so I just thought I'd use it in this video. So I've only put like a few pumps on my hand, and then I'm just going to put that on my face just to sort of give it a bit more of brightness, and especially under my eyes because my eye circles are like really dull. Okay, so the first question is from my friend Georgia, and she said, what or who is your inspiration? So I have quite a few inspirations in my life. One of them is 100% my mum. Like, my mum has always been my inspiration from since I was little. Just love my mum to pieces. I do look up to her quite a lot. But then influencers wise, I do have quite a few YouTubers who I love watching and who just brighten my mood up. So like Demi Donnelly, Georgia May, Misha Grimes. I just really love all of them because they just have such positive, they just give like such a positive outcome. And when you can watch someone and feel really good afterwards, like if you were having like a really bad day and then you just feel good after watching that video, it just kind of makes you feel better. You know, I just like that sort of feeling. So definitely my favourite YouTubers of all time. I also do really look up to Billie Eilish, which, you know, I have done now for about 3 or 4 years. And Billie Eilish is probably one of my favourite singers out there. I first knew about Billie Eilish, I think, when she first released her song Fingers Crossed, and obviously there were like other songs that weren't really heard of, so she did a song, She's Broken, which was a really great song I listened to quite a lot. As she's grown, like, she's obviously released some really great hits and I've always enjoyed them. I've got her vinyls, I've got basically every song downloaded, and I've got like a little creation wall of Billie over there, which I just like to look at because I just do really love her and like what she wears as well. I know I'm blabbering on a bit, but what she wears, it just shows that she doesn't care about what people think of her, because society these days, they do judge, and I feel like Billie, obviously, you know, you don't really know what goes on behind closed doors, but she doesn't care what she wears, which is a really good thing. It's still the same day. I just did change my top because I was getting very warm and the window isn't open because the wind is really loud today. I have actually just gone ahead and put my Conceal and Hydrate foundation on by Revolution in the shade F2. Just gone ahead and put the Conceal and Define Infinite Revolution concealer on. This concealer was in a testing video about a few weeks ago and it's my new favourite. This is in the shade C2, I believe. Yep, C2. And I really love this, so I'm just going to go ahead and answer the next question whilst blending out my concealer. I believe it is from Georgia again, and she said, what is your motivation? So my motivation at the moment, getting me through lockdown, is before lockdown I used to go to the gym maybe 3 or 4 times a week with my best friend, or sometimes by myself. Going to the gym really helped my mental health, especially if I was having a down day. I would always go to the gym and then you'll just focus on one sort. It was great, but obviously being in lockdown, all the gyms are closed, so I have been working out at home. My sister actually lives with us and she has her own weights and resistant bands and stuff like that, so I do use them at home, and that's really made me motivated, so I do really enjoy doing that. I really like to read. Like, throughout this period I have been reading a lot on my Kindle, obviously because it is quite hard to buy books, but I have been putting on my social media like, oh, what some really good books to read. I have quite a lot of, I can never pronounce her name, but the Chatty GRWM poetry book. So she wrote Milk and Honey, The Sun and Her Flowers, she wrote that one. And I really enjoy reading those. Walking as well at the moment, like, you know, getting out, and even if it's just like to a small place, like a 20-minute walk, that's still really good. Just went and put some highlighter on. The highlighter I used was the Rose Gold Glow Duo, which is looking pretty fresh. I'm going to answer another question now, which is from my best friend Chummy, and she said, what is your favourite things to eat and drink during quarantine? Personally, I'm a big plain pasta fan. Some of you may be like, ew, like add some sauce. But honestly, plain pasta, I love it. It tastes great. Drink wise, I drink a lot of milk. I also drink a lot of tea. I'm just one of those people who love a milky brew, no sugars. If you can make a cracking cup of tea, I'll probably love you forever, because tea is my life. I think I have like maybe 6 or 7 cups a day. It used to be more. Like even in college, we have like a little cafe and I have to get at least 2 or 3 cups a day. Like my college friends may be watching this and they think, she does. But apart from that, like eating wise, I eat a lot of like Philadelphia light things, because I am trying to tone up my body, so I don't necessarily eat junk food. I mean, I did have a Bueno last night. I did steal it off my sister. I probably shouldn't have done that, but you know when you're just kind of craving chocolate, it's the time of the month, TMI, but you're craving it and you're just like, you know what?
I'm going to treat myself to a Bueno, and that's what I did, and I enjoyed it, so amen.
So next I think I'm going to go in with eyeshadow. I don't know what palette to use. I'm looking in my makeup drawer and I'm just like quite overwhelmed. I think I'm going to actually go in with this palette, which I did use the other palette a few days ago when I went out with my mum for a drive, that's all. So I haven't used this one yet, which is the Berry Bomb palette, I believe. So I'm going to go in with this palette. This is what the shades look like if you're wondering. Very pretty. I don't really go for berry shades very often. I'm more of like a nude, neutral look. But let's do it. Let's give it a whirl. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the Prime and Lock eyeshadow primer on my lids. This primer is recently purchased too, and I absolutely love it, because the other primer I have, which I think is the Illuminating Collection Eye Primer, it's quite greasy and I don't really like how it like makes my eyes feel. So I think I'm going to stop using that one and just stick with the Prime and Lock by Revolution. So Chummy actually did ask me another question. She said, how's life in quarantine? I'm going to say it again, like me just keep it motivated. It's just made me a better person, made me constantly feeling good. I feel like if I didn't have like the workout gear I have in my home, I feel like I would probably be a bit more on my toes. I think it's quite good as well having pets. I do love my dogs and my hamster. Like, you know, I love them. It is going pretty well. I mean, obviously it's not the best scenario to be in. I do miss seeing my friends. I miss going to college, which is a big mouthful to say, but I do, because I miss seeing my friends. It's difficult. Like, I have been doing college work throughout quarantine. And it's quite hard to sort of like keep in contact with the teacher, because you know the teacher does have their own lives and like their own children probably, and you know when you're constantly stuck on something and you're confused and you are aiming for the higher grade, because I do want to go to university in a few years time and I'm constantly having to aim for the distinctions, and it can be quite confusing and quite like not necessarily depressing, but it does make you overthink, like thinking, should I really be doing this? Am I really good enough to be doing this? But you know, you've just got to keep going through the process and just think, no, I'm not going to let that negativity get me down,
Sister.
So yeah, so I'm going to dip in with this little cute palette. This is my Bendy Wendy brush, which is by Revolution, which I blimmin' love. Like, how freaking cool is this? Some of you may be like, okay, I'm going to dip in with this shade. They don't have shade names, but I'm just going to say this is like a pale creamy nude. So I'm just going to dip in with that and then just put that on my lid. Yeah, I mean, life in quarantine is good for me. I hope quarantine is treating you well. Obviously it is Mental Health Awareness Week, which I'm aware of because I have the semicolon tattoo, which I got, I believe, like, I think it was like a year and maybe 4 or 5 months. Like it was in May that I got this tattoo done. It's quite passionate to me. Like I have got my story and I know my story isn't over yet. I've had a lot go on in my life, like I'm sure everyone has had moments in their life which they have struggled with. I feel like I can say I am proud of myself. Obviously I still have my down days where I do shut down, but you've just kind of got to find a way to build yourself back up, and that's why I feel like I'm very passionate about working out and my fitness and animals and walking. Just being active overall. To be honest with you, that pigment is actually coming through. Like for a pale shade, that is not bad. I'm just basically putting that all over the lid. I'm not being too fussy, to be honest. I'm just kind of throwing that on. So next I'm going to go in with this darker berry shade here, and I'm going to use the same brush because why not. And I'm just going to put it on like the outer corner of my eye and then just blend it into the inner corner. Oh, that's quite pigmented actually. I don't know how I feel about that shade. It is kind of giving me bruised eye vibes. The next question is from Mortifae, aka Beth. She is one of my favourite YouTubers to watch also. She is such a lovely girl, and if you're watching this, hi Beth, and I hope you are well. So she has said, what is your favourite makeup brand? So my favourite makeup brand has to be Revolution. I heart Revolution, Revolution Pro. I really love Revolution. I think they have such good products and they are so affordable. Some of their stuff is just insanely pigmented. Like for example, the highlighter I bought the other week. This is £3 and the pigmentation of this is just like insane. Like it's worth maybe £40 or something. It's just blimmin' incredible. Like how insane is that? I'm going to take this shade here, which I will swatch for you guys because you can't really see it for some reason. So that's what it looks like. It's quite pretty. I'm just going to take this brush and I'm just going to put it on the centre of my eye. I haven't cut the crease, so I'm just going to take that brush, which is really good actually. This is the studio brush, but I don't know what particular one it is because it doesn't say. Just finished the look off with the Fenty Bomb lip gloss just to sort of give my lips more of a colour. Really happy with how it's turned out. Obviously the burgundy shade I was a bit too uncomfortable with because I feel like it just discoloured my eyes, which I just wasn't really a fan of. But I feel like it's worked out well. Thank you so much to the ones who participated in asking me some questions. If you do have any other questions, my DMs are always open on Instagram and the questions can be answered through the comment section down below. I enjoyed filming this video. I love watching Get Ready With Me's, especially tipsy ones. Like Georgia May recently did a tipsy Get Ready With Me and I loved it. I just think they're just such like an entertaining video to watch and film. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Try and stay positive and I shall see you all very soon.